Allsports for Allsports podcast.
Welcome to the Allsports podcast with me, Matt, and joining me tonight, Joel. Hi, Joel.
Hello, Matt.
And James. How are you, James?
All good, guys. How are you two?
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good here too. Today, we are going to have an attempt at covering all sports, see if we can make the pod by name and by nature. We're going to do football first and fast and continue in the Fs with a little bit of a touch on F1 news, head into some golf, rugby, bit of an NFL draft check-in, and NBA postseason, what's going on, cricket, IPL, a little bit of darts, a little bit of snooker, see what else we've got a little bit of time left for. If you want to get in touch, contact us at allsportspods@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, and make sure that you like, subscribe, put notifications on, auto-download, 5-star, all of that jazz to help make the pod successful. All right, fast football first. So there was some breaking news today that we'll quickly touch on because none of us have really got our heads around it first. But looks like the clubs in the Premier League have voted for a salary cap based on 85% of their revenue for season starting FY 25-26. I say FY. I'm still in work mode. Season 25-26. Anything else that we know more about it, guys?
Well, I think you mentioned the 85% thing, but they've also been voting on anchoring TV revenue to the team who received the lowest amount of TV revenue in that season. I think it's like 4.5 times that figure, which is usually around £100 million. So it will look anywhere between 450 and 500 million. But that is as much as I know about it. I know that 3 teams voted against that today, and they were City, James, United, and also Villa. So there's a strange alliance going on there. Not really sure what those clubs' motivations are for voting against, but I'm also not really sure what the motivation is for it either. There's already a lot of regulations around the finances in the Premier League. So yeah.
I think we've spoken about financial fair play before on the pod, obviously, and this feels like a developed version of that. But I don't really understand it to comment on it too much. It feels like it's an attempt at leveling the playing field for those that have just got a lot of owner cash, which makes sense then that City would not be in favour.
Yeah.
Also interesting that Newcastle apparently haven't voted against it. So that's why I'm a bit
it should favour teams like Newcastle though, because they've got money in the bank, but their investment is tied to their own revenue. So if they're not making Champions League money, they're not allowed to spend the money that they have. So if you're going to anchor it on TV money, everyone's spending that 500 million number, it would help a team like that, which is why I was a bit confused why Villa sort of voted against it, because without Champions League money, it would help them spend a bit more. I know you've got rich owners. It completely makes sense why City don't want it, because I think it reduces the status quo a little bit. If you're an elite team now, it's going to be harder for you to always stay ahead, especially if you've got the revenue coming in. I think the big thing it will change is teams coming up with money who previously couldn't spend their money to stay in the Prem and be competitive can now do that without the fear of doing a Notts Forest or an Everton and getting fined 3 years down the line. Because they clearly don't want that happening over and over again in the Prem, because you get seasons like this year where the table is reflective of, without the Everton and the Notts Forest points deductions, the season's dead and gone, really. Those 3 teams are out.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with the appeal. Obviously, there's further appeals going on with Forest and Everton, but it does look like, despite all of the points deductions, Everton are going to be safe. So I said a few episodes ago, I don't want them to go down because of it, and they've done really well to fight with that kind of monkey on your back, that pressure that comes with that. They've fought together as a team and they're staying up. So good on them.
They have a really strange record post points deduction announcement. I think the first time they reeled off 3 wins on the bounce, and then in the last 4, I think they've won all 4 without conceding a goal or something.
They won all 4, haven't they?
They've got a silly
Incredible.
record recently, yeah. So their record after the announcements is, they clearly galvanise the club and they go again.
Good on them. Luton look like they're struggling now. Might be the ones to go down next. So both Burnley and Sheffield United were relegated this weekend, were they?
No, Sheffield United, Burnley aren't. Sheffield United have gone down there.
Yeah.
So, Sheffield, they were dead and buried a while ago, but Burnley, the point that they got at United, keeps them in the hunt. Like, they're paying Forest as well.
They're hanging it. Them, Luton, Forest, do they all play each other?
There's some weird matchups in there. I still don't think any of them, apart from obviously Sheffield, are out of it. But yeah, Everton have dragged themselves right away. So it's just those Forest, Burnley, and Luton scrapping for one.
Yeah, we said last week Burnley had that big win, and they decided to play. Was it too little, too late? But actually, they're now they're clocking up the points. It doesn't take a lot of points to get back in it. So we'll see what this weekend brings. What are the fixtures looking like this weekend for them?
Burnley have got Newcastle at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got Tottenham away, and then the last day of the season they've got Notts Forest at home. So it could be a relegation playoff for the last day.
Gosh.
Luton play Everton on Friday night, 8:00. That is huge.
Great jeopardy in those games. What about the top of the table? Main highlights: Liverpool threw away the league, although it wasn't theirs to throw away, right?
No, very much.
Over the last 3 or 4 weeks, though, they have internally imploded. I was speaking to some friends about this, and I think it's easy to say now, but I think that Klopp announcement mid-season made the whole season overly emotional for everybody.
That he's leaving.
Yeah, that he's going. Everyone got very overly emotional about it. Everyone's like, we'll go, like we want to win everything. All 4 competitions, we're in them all. And they've just completely petered out. In my head, the way they are playing since the announcement just seems a bit scrappy, and they just couldn't get anything over the line, and it's probably affected them. But yeah, that's season over really for them. You just can't see City and Arsenal dropping that many points.
Well, they've only got 5 points from the last 5 games, haven't they? Not enough. Whereas,
well, they've got worse as players have come back. Interestingly, so they had that big period of Salah being at AFCON, then injured, Trent being out, Alisson being out, all these players getting injured, and they had like the kids playing at some points, and they were winning a lot of games and picking up a lot of points, and they've completely fallen away. I think you can see the frustration though, the Salah Klopp arguments on the touchline on Saturday.
So talk to me about that. What happened? Did he get subbed off or something?
No, he started on the bench again, which is never really happens to Salah. So it's proven that he's in a bit of bad form, and Klopp's not really going with him. And from the video I've seen, I think Klopp's gone for his normal hug before he's gone on the pitch, and Salah's not really having any of it. He's just focused on getting on, and then they get into a bit of a verbal spat, and it's not great.
Klopp saying, "No, you come back here and hug me."
More or less, yeah. But I think the thing that people see is, Salah's being petulant. He's on the bench. He's kicking off. But I'm not really seeing it like that. I think he's annoyed to be on the bench, but he doesn't have to embrace his manager whenever he goes on.
No,
I think he is being a bit petulant, considering the comments that he made.
Are you a hugger? Is it because you're a hugger, Joel?
Well, I'd have hugged Klopp. He looks like a nice guy to hug, I think. But I think his comments when walking through the mix zone, obviously there's journalists asking him to come and do an interview and whatever, and he said something along the lines of, if I talk today, there'll be fire. And I think he's added, he's fueling the flames there, isn't he? He could easily just walk through there and not say anything.
He is.
If Klopp was staying, would he potentially be going?
I don't know, but Klopp's got a history of falling out with people. Like Michael Edwards went the first time. He's had assistant managers leave. People do fall out with Klopp and they end up leaving. So maybe. But going. So, the news that came out today from, I think it might have been Ornstein, was saying that there's no plans for Salah to leave in the next year.
I think that's a precursor, though. To be honest, I don't expect him to be there next season. If I'm honest, I think the fact that there's this kind of feeling, and the fact that that Saudi thing was definitely there last summer. I think anything that you hear from the club is just them trying to get the right price for him with a year left on his deal.
Take 100 million plus for him. I know they were talking about 150. I think that's a bit nuts, but anything of north of 100 million for a 31-year-old in his last year of his deal.
You're probably dropping 40-50% off that next January, aren't you? So you don't want to be just timing out the deal.
Yeah, now they've got Slot more or less coming in to have that money behind him to go and spend on the way that he wants to do it. But to be fair, I think I say that, but I think the whole
still got to balance the books though.
The whole structure of Liverpool will change. Slot will be coming in as head coach rather than manager, and Hughes will be doing all the player operations.
Yeah, they've been given a lot of autonomy, I would say. There's no way that Edwards goes back there if he's not running the show. He was going to run his own consultancy.
Yeah.
So for him to go back there, he's been given carte blanche to create what he thinks is right, basically. And I think that is exactly what is going on with this Slot coming in. It's a bit of a left field one, really.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, would never work with Jurgen because he's the head of the club. But someone like Slot coming in who is a coach. My one concern is if you brought in the wrong coach who was a bit more egotistical, you're going to have essentially the plot from Moneyball, where the coach doesn't want to play the players that you bought for whatever reasons, and you've got that internal divide. But it sounds like they wouldn't. They're only going to hire people that buy into the way they're going to run the club.
It can go the other way as well, though, and you end up with a coach who, completely forgoes responsibility as well. And I actually think De Zerbi's doing that a little bit at Brighton at the moment. He's just he's been making noises since January that they didn't do the business that he wanted to do, and it just feels like he's sleepwalking, and they are sleepwalking to the summer now.
Yeah, he was out 100%.
I thought that. Yeah, when I saw the highlights of the game this weekend, they were not there. Similarly with Chelsea, I thought the same until they showed a little bit of fight against Villa. Joel, our Aston Villa correspondent.
Yeah. I'll talk about Chelsea because I think they're the main story here, really. I haven't seen loads of them this season, but I tell you what, when I have seen them, they've been really good. I've seen them against City a couple of times. I've seen them against Villa a couple of times, and I've seen them against. I think I watched the Everton game that was recent as well. But when I don't watch them, everyone's laughing at them, and they're just
Joe, the Arsenal game.
The Arsenal game was shambles.
Yeah, that's one of the things.
It's a pedestrian.
Yeah. And
it was Arsenal were playing against statues in the box. It was Arsenal had free reign.
That's the youth side of Chelsea. There, they are a bit men against boys sometimes. If they are getting beat early, their heads go down and they look a little bit rubbish. Which is why I was surprised in the Villa game. I thought when you go 2-0 up, I thought that was it.
Well, exactly that. So yeah, that was the point I was coming to. With the fact that they'd not shown a lot of mental strength a few days before. So to come back and play the way they did, and not just play the way that they did, but also fight back from a 2-0 deficit that they didn't deserve to be in that position. It's easy to then kind of sulk, isn't it? But they 100% did not do that. They were on it with the press. They were really good on the ball. Villa could not get out second half. It just makes me wonder. Obviously, they've got good individual players because they just are. They're a talent. They've got a talented squad, and Pep Pochettino can get bits and pieces out of them. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with them next season, whether they can mature a little bit. I think that's a lot of the issue. Obviously, the disallowed goal at the end of the game, and they didn't respond well to that, surrounding the ref, yellow cards kind of being flashed about all over the place and stuff. So maybe it's just a maturity thing and they just need time. But I thought they looked better without Enzo as well, to be honest. Really good, and Cosado was as well.
I think Chelsea are, I saw the rumours today of them going for Osimhen from Napoli. They are a big, strong number 9 away from having a great team. Jackson can't lead you to a top 4. he's just not clinical enough. But yeah, they've got great players. I think the maturity is definitely one thing, but I think Pochettino needs to sign more of a
Are they going to stick with Pochettino?
Yeah, they have to. It'll be too expensive to fire, I'd imagine. Like he's on quite a big contract. So yeah, I think if he signs, because Thiago Silva's leaving now at the end of the year, so he needs to go and get a captain, a leader. Bring like Conor Gallagher being captain. He's had a great year, but he's not a seasoned pro that inspires everybody else that I think they need.
And he's going to go as well.
He'll be off to Spurs as well.
Oh, is it Spurs? Right.
Spurs, I think, was one of them. West Ham might have been another.
Newcastle as well.
Newcastle, yeah. But yeah, lots to work on for Chelsea. But so finally,
Gallagher obviously not keen on playing European football. Then
no one wants it. That top 4 spot. They all want
it. Actually, the result for Villa was a good one, and was made better by Spurs losing on Sunday. I think, the results are all that matter now for Villa. Like they didn't play well, but I wonder if they got a bit spooked by just needing a result, and they didn't really look on it anyway. But they got the point, and they're so key at this stage of the season with the fixtures that Tottenham have as well that we've spoken about. But I mean, they almost came back on Sunday.
Well, go on, James. Last thing on it.
I'd say for Villa, you probably need 4 points.
Yeah,
that feels about right. 4 or 5 points, but it could if Tottenham lose at Chelsea in the week and Villa win against Brighton on Sunday. I think Tottenham would then have to win every game basically, and that's very difficult.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and then into Europe they go with a chance to play against one of these sides, Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. Europe Champions League semi-finalists this week. That is a ding-dong.
That is a proper tasty game. That it's going to be. Well, a lot of the hype will be Kane versus Bellingham and all this stuff, but Bayern Munich have been pretty average, as we've mentioned, in the league, but they look great in the Champions League whenever I've seen them. So them versus Real Madrid are 2 teams that just know how to get it done. So
predictions?
It's at Bayern, isn't it? So I'm going to go 2-1 Bayern Munich first leg.
I mean, the quarters were the complete opposite of this, but I'm going to say it's going to be very cagey.
Yeah.
And I think a 1-1 maybe.
I have no prediction, but I don't want Harry Kane to win a trophy, so I'm backing Real Madrid and Jude Bellingham to get it done. You're pro Jude Bellingham this week, James, or
always pro Jude Bellingham? I'm a pro England players, and Harry Kane's the captain of our national team, so how can you not like it?
Cool. And in the other semi, where our heads at, PSG Borussia Dortmund. I can't see past PSG, but
I think PSG have got themselves a nice favourable draw. I mean, Mbappe's on something like 60 odd goal contributions already this year, so the form he's in, if they actually start him, they should be fine. Luis Enrique keeps plopping him on the bench every now and then to show him that he's not bigger than the team, but it'd be a nice way to say goodbye, wouldn't it? A League One and a Champions League.
They are the kings of Champions League tragedy, though.
Champions League chokers.
Yeah, I feel like this is a prime opportunity for them to, throw us off the scent.
Imagine that Jadon Sancho getting thrown out of United by Eric Ten Hag and then going to win the Champions League.
Fancy Dortmund. Then because of that reason, I fancy Dortmund. Actually, I can't trust PSG to get over the line in a Champions League semi-final, but they are favourites to win. I just feel like it's too perfect for them not to throw it away.
Fair point.
Interesting. We'll see. Well, that was a nice little whistle-stop tour on football. We've got F1 up next, and we've got quite a lot of news from the paddock, as they say, with Adrian Newey set to leave Red Bull at the end of the season. A lot of chat. I think maybe did we speak early on in the pod days about Newey to Red Bull? Some of the chat, Red Bull to Ferrari. The chat was around that, wasn't it? So Adrian Newey, the only engineer to ever win a World Championship title, it feels like, over the last 15 years, could he continue his dominance at Ferrari with the new car, the new regs, and Hamilton saying that he can race well into his 40s? Bodes well for Hamilton that Newey's out and about and up for grabs.
I feel like he must have known something was coming because Hamilton always seems to make these decisions where people go, "What are you doing?" And then he goes, "Oh yeah, you won by 20 seconds this week." Newey leaving Red Bull is probably as big a news as it gets at the moment. I'm a little bit like I'm not sure what will happen because he'll have non-competes in place. He can't just get up and leave Red Bull. He'll have to have a year out, I'd expect, because there's no way Red Bull are going to sign off on him moving to Ferrari or wherever it is. I read bits of him meeting with Mercedes. I read bits about Aston Martin offering him 100 million to go there and an equity deal. So he will be the most in-demand person in the paddock, like bar none. You can say Verstappen, but I think Newey is probably more important to a team than Verstappen is now.
Well, staying on the Red Bulls though, Verstappen's are still not happy at Red Bull, are they?
Or Horner's there, that's why.
Well, isn't that why Newey's gone?
Yeah. So Horner's still there, so Newey's off, and then there's the rumour that the Verstappens and Helmut Marko will be meeting with Mercedes in Miami at the weekend. So they are.
Why would Helmut Marko be meeting with Mercedes?
Because I think he's like Verstappen's right-hand man. I think where he goes, Marko will go.
Incredible.
As part of like if you want us and if it's a selling point, we'll bring Marko with you.
Love that. So Sauber have signed Nico Hülkenberg. Sauber going to be Audi next year. So interestingly, they've gone with a German driver, which I like very much. It was going to be like a 70% ownership. But I think Audi are taking 100% now, and Audi have got a phenomenal record in motorsport racing. I expect them to be going full bore at this. So I actually think if Sainz has got a free seat and a choice of where he wants to go, I could see him going to Audi. And I like that a lot.
Yeah. So Audi are coming in from 2026 when the regulations start. But yeah, so they've always been rumoured about Carlos Sainz, but I think from the sort of the rumours that have come out is that he's not too sure on the Audi project. I don't think it's as easy to come into F1 as you think. Like you're miles behind in terms of R&D and knowledge of former cars and how the testing work. So yeah, it would make sense. Obviously, Hülkenberg being German, Audi, and then they have like a superstar in terms of car science. They'd be on the right foot. But yeah, I'm interested to see. I'd love to see like a name like Audi, and I know who's Andretti have been trying to get in for a while, who keep turned out for the 11th team. But yeah, Audi will be good to see.
That's exciting. F1's looking good. Some more positive stories coming out of F1 now. So we spoke about Nelly Corda last week. She didn't compete over the weekend. Absolutely shattered after playing 4 or 5 weekends on the bounce, and gave it a rest this weekend. So be interested to see what she does do when she comes back next weekend. But playing this week in the pairs competition, in the Zurich pairs, reuniting the Ryder Cup team, Rory and Shane Lowry.
Yeah, it's Rory's first appearance at this pairs event, and he tells a story about them being at dinner after the Ryder Cup, saying, "Yeah, let's do this." I think they got a bit drunk and decided to do it, which is very Shane Lowry, I think. But yeah, I watched it last night. It really looked like it freed Rory up to be back to his best, like being with his pal that he's known since he was a kid. Yeah. He was driving the ball a mile. He was flinging those high irons in as he does, and he was actually putting well. So yeah, it was good to see him win. I think that's his 25th PGA Tour win now, so it's another milestone for him.
What's the format? Is it scramble?
No, so it changes to like alternating days. So the first day and the third day is a better ball. So whoever the better score out the two goes on the card, and then the second and the fourth day is foursomes. So it's alternate shot, which is quite a tricky format.
Yeah,
but it's obviously the same way they're playing the Ryder Cup. So those two are used to doing it already. It went to a playoff last night, so they had to go back down 18 against another team that hadn't hit a golf ball in 3 hours. So they got a bit cold, I think, and played the last pretty miserably, and Rory and Lowry won.
I mean, I don't recognise any of those other names on the leaderboard.
No.
Not a big event. Like, it's one of these ones that friends tend to play it, but it's still a PGA Tour event.
Cruise it.
In the
They
Masters.
absolutely cruised it.
Yeah, it's been the Masters. Then it was a designated event last week with the big prize fund. So you'll tend to get a few players taking this week off.
The Fitzpatrick brothers were there.
They were. Fitzpatrick brothers were there. I don't know how they did, but
11th.
Yeah, Alex has been doing quite well. So he's the younger one. Is he younger? Yeah, he's the younger one. He was on the European Tour and the Challenge Tour, and I think may have his PGA Tour card now.
And we didn't talk about it last week, but Scheffler went back-to-back Masters and then straight into the RBC Heritage. We didn't speak about it last week, did we? We did speak about him winning the Heritage last week, did we?
You good nature, yeah.
Did I? Was I checked out?
No, we brought it up in the sense of we're talking about domination.
Yeah, he went again.
He went again. Yeah, he is an utter freak at the moment.
He is absolutely crazy. And what's going on with Liv and Ryder Cup? I saw something in the news. I think you were across it, James.
Yeah, so they're not banning the European Liv players from the Ryder Cup, from what I understand, which is good. So
Why would they ban them?
The PGA did. No, they didn't ban them. They had to qualify, I think, through a certain point system in the US, which Brooks Koepka did by winning a major. But the others weren't considered, I don't think so. Bryce,
right.
When he could have done. So then they'll just pick Rahm and Hatton as a wild card, I would expect.
Bryson's YouTube channel's not too bad. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I think it's really done like a PR U-turn for him. Before I used to really despise him.
He's got 500,000. He's got 500,000 followers on it.
Yeah, he does
churning out the content.
Does these break 90 series where he'll do scrambles with other pros trying to obviously birdie every hole or whatever it is.
Well, I think they're doing break 60, not break 90. I think you and I would do break 90, James.
90, sorry, I meant 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, breaking 90 would be our challenge.
Should we give that a go? 12 days time? You up for it?
If we don't break 90 in 12 days, I'll be breaking my clubs.
What's the format? What are we playing? We got a golf day, Joe, at Belfry. What's the format, James? Do you know?
It's a team am last time I played in it, so 2 people's scores from each hole count.
Okay.
So yeah, by the end of it, there'll be 18 of my scores on there and none of yours, I would guess.
That's not true. I was at the driving range yesterday and I was working on pinging some absolute stinger missiles down there. Nice low trajectory.
Tiger Woods is with us.
Yeah, that's what I was working on. No success, but it was good fun trying.
Those things are really nice when the ball's not rolling anywhere because it's wet.
Moving from my golf into my favourite sport, rugby. So rugby, we're now in the Premiership. We are now it'll be it's not this weekend. This weekend coming up is the Champions Cup, European Champions Cup semi-finals. So we've got Harlequins against Toulouse, and it looks like Harlequins are going to lose, unfortunately. I think you mentioned, Joel, a few weeks ago a Toulouse joke was
probably one in. I never.
Probably there somewhere.
So
I did, and I did it kind of self-deprecating as a Quins fan, but looking at their side with the two best players in the world at the moment in DuPont and Untamak in their 9 and 10s, let alone their beast of a pack and their backs as well. I can't see past Toulouse, although I couldn't see Harlequins beating Bordeaux, but I think that game was the lightning strike, the win against Bordeaux. I don't think it's going to strike twice. However, I do fancy Northampton's chances in the other semi-final away to Leinster, who aren't playing at the Aviva where they usually play, but they're playing at Croke Park, which is where the Gaelic sports mainly happen. 80,000 stadium, and it is a sellout for this European clash.
It's going to be a fantastic atmosphere, that one.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. So, interestingly, Quins and Saints, the semi-finalists, both played each other this weekend. And it was like one of Quins' big games. They do these big games where they go and play at Twickenham. So, they do family fun days and minis tournaments in the morning. And then all of the juniors and family and friends walk with the team over the 3-1-2 to Twickenham Stadium. It's a pretty epic event. And then obviously the match takes place. Jess Glynn was doing a concert at the match as well. So they put on a brilliant event for it, Quins, when they do these big games. And they delivered as well. They got it done. And Northampton winning the league so far this year, and kind of had been running away with it a little bit. But some of the other teams are pushing it now. We spoke earlier in the pod about how tight the league was. It's not got less tight several weeks later. Still, anyone could make it into the top four playoffs. You've got 6 or 7 still in with a shout. So after the semis this weekend, they've got 2 fixtures left till the end of the regular season before the playoffs. So we'll touch on the Premiership when we come back from that, but. Yeah, this weekend's all about European rugby. So hoping for 2 English wins, and Harlequins and Northampton could be playing each other a lot. So they played last weekend. If they both get through, they'll be in the final. And then it looks like it could be a Harlequins versus Northampton Premiership rugby semi-final as well. So watch this space.
Well, they go from the league into a cup format, do they?
Yeah, top four qualify. First and second get home draws and play against third and fourth.
Okay.
I wonder if Billy Vinipola will be able to play for Sarries.
Well,
he got tasered twice in Mallorca.
It probably would take a couple of tasers to get him down. Yeah, I've not really been able to ascertain too much of what happened. He's spoken about not drinking in the past.
I'll give it that one.
But I think, he's parked that and has had a wild weekend in, where was it, Malaga?
He's in it's Palma, so probably Magaluf.
Have you ever to the point where you've resisted arrest and being tased, though, John?
No, I haven't.
Now the stories come out.
Not that he's willing
a pod exclusive. Here we go.
We don't know the ins and outs, do we?
No, exactly. Yeah. The headlines aren't great, though. He said something about a miscommunication. So there's a language barrier. Yeah. Anyway, enough speculating about that. NFL draft. Anyone catch it?
I saw bits.
All the headlines.
Yeah, I saw bits and bobs. I didn't realise that the first white. Oh no, what's the position? Cooper DeJean is his name. Plays in the backfield somewhere. He's the first white guy to be drafted in that position in 20 years.
What, as a wide receiver?
No, not wide receiver. He's what's his position?
He's a cornerback.
Cornerback, that's the one. I said corner. 20 years. I thought that was quite impressive. He's going to the Philadelphia Eagles. That was one of the stories that I saw. And the guy that refused to throw, when we spoke about the combine a few weeks ago, the guy that refused to throw because he could only go down, he got drafted in the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams.
Okay, so a cornerback is like the person defending the wide receivers. They're marking the wide receivers, right?
Yeah, he's the one that's slapping out their hands in midair.
Got it.
He's just, got to be nimble for those. But yeah, don't
you
know
do. What you need, so what they test in the combine for that is the vertical jump.
Yeah.
And his standing vertical jump was 38.5 inches, just shy of a meter vertical jump.
No, it's more than a meter.
Nope.
Yeah. Has to be higher than a meter.
I mean, why are you giving it us in inches?
Has to be higher than a meter. I could jump higher than a meter.
Yeah, it's 0.97 meters.
Yeah.
But is that from where it starts?
That'll be where his feet get off the ground, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not how... Okay, right.
No, that's not how high he's reaching.
No, I know that because he's taller than me. I know how that works.
Okay, jumping jumping 98 centimeters,
jumping.
vertical jump, James, is incredibly impressive.
But people high jump way higher than that.
Yes, he's
Yeah,
not
from
doing
the
a
rugby
running.
running
He's not doing a.
No,
He's
that
not
is
doing a Frosby flop.
Jumping a meter doesn't seem that impressive for some
Okay,
reason.
stand
My
up.
head. No,
Stand
I'm
up.
not jumping. I'll put my head through the roof.
You won't. That's the whole point.
You can't jump that high. Okay, sorry. This is all completely irrelevant.
All
Let's
right.
move on from
Well,
there.
another, interesting, the amount of quarterbacks that are actually picked up. So it's kind of like there's lesser teams deciding that it's the quarterback problem. So they got to pick up these new recruits at quarterback. But one story that I want to talk about, blending in from the rugby theme, is a little known 6'7" English rugby player. I'm going to quotation mark rugby player, guy called Travis Clayton, because he's not really a rugby player, because he's definitely not a professional or a semi-pro rugby player. He played in the 8th tier. So he's played much, much lower than I've played. And that's saying something because I wasn't very good. But he played in the 8th tier in like Basingstoke's 2nd team or something. No, Basingstoke County 2nd division in Hampshire. So, yeah.
From stocking shelves at Sainsbury's to playing NFL football. That's
Exactly.
Right.
But
if you look at him, he is enormous.
He's enormous. So he's 6'7", and in his combine, I'm just going to tell you, this is also a fairly impressive stat for someone that's 6'7", James. Before you'll do better. He ran a 4.7 second 40 yards. So he's basically running at 10 meters per second, and he's 6'7", and he's a big unit. Anyway, he was 221st overall pick, so that sounds like a lot, but he's been picked in the NFL draft. So he's gone to the Detroit Lions. So as well as Louis Rees-Zammit at James's Kansas City Chiefs, we've got Clayton for the Detroit Lions. So one to watch out for next year. We'll see if he actually makes it into the roster.
Imagine having an offensive tackle who can run nearly 10-second 100 meters. Imagine someone that large and that heavy running at you at that pace. I think I'd break in half.
Well, yes. It's apparently the fastest of all the fastest time of all offensive linemen over the past 10 years.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, the size of them, they're not designed to run that fast.
But
I don't know how he wasn't doing better, or bigger in rugby.
Maybe he's not
just poor. Maybe he's just got poor hands, and he's not going to. In this position, he's probably not really going to have to be touching a ball. He's just going to be smashing people for fun.
Yeah, there is that. Just absolutely murdering people, running straight through them.
It's nice to have some British representation in the NFL.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch it this year. Bit more.
And you're back in the Chiefs, aren't you? Just go with the returning favourite.
I'm a classic glory supporter. I'm a United fan from 15 years ago.
You got anyone that you've got your eye on, Joel? You mentioned someone in the early days of the pod that you might think about following, or that you'd followed when you were at uni a little bit.
No, yeah, I had a basketball team, but I didn't ever really have an NFL team. I didn't kind of land on one, so no, I don't.
Maybe it's time.
Anyone kind of tickling your fancy? You did a little southern tour of the US, didn't you? Anyone from down there below the Bible Belt that you're keen on?
I did. We went through Tampa. Tampa any good?
Florida, yeah. They had did they win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady? Have I put that out of nowhere?
Yeah.
There is actually a random wheel here that you can spin it and get yourself an NFL team. So maybe we could do that instead.
Joel, do you want to spin the wheel, or do you want to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer?
Spin the wheel.
I want to spin the wheel, yeah.
All right, okay, Here we go.
Oh, you're spinning it for me.
You know what? I'm going to spin your wheel, and I'm going to show you your wheel spin.
Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. Screen share.
It's more interactive, right?
I'm going to have to. I'm audio describing this. I'll audio describe this for the listeners. James has screen shared something that says spin the wheel, NFL teams start. Joel, if you want to tell him when to start, then James will spin that wheel.
Start it, James.
Let's do it.
Spin it. Here it goes. It is spinning. There's a lot of colours.
Oh,
And he looks like, is it Indianapolis Colts? No, not landed on the Colts. What have you landed on?
I don't know.
Why does it not tell us who they are?
It's a panther of some description.
How do we work out who this is?
Is it a panther? I can't quite. I'm not zoomed in enough.
It looks like it's the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, you keen on you want to spin again?
I've never heard of them.
Okay, we'll give you one more spin, and then you can choose between the Carolina Panthers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or someone else. Right, go on then, spin again.
Spin. This defeats the whole object of the spin. Spin the wheel. Right, come on, give him someone good.
Oh, it's landed on
the same team. It's the same team.
Hang on.
You absolutely. Is this designed by the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, I feel like I have to have them now. It feels like it's meant to be.
Yeah. Well, Joel, I'm looking forward to hearing Kansas City Chiefs. Is that your spin or Joel's? That's
my spin. I'm Kansas City.
Okay, right, so up the
Well, so I followed Tom Brady and Wes Welker, Gostowski, Gronkowski through the glory days of the New England Patriots. I'm a Boston Bruins and I am a Boston Celtics fan. So I think I probably have to, unfortunately, stay with the New England Patriots despite their terrible form.
Do our teams play each other? What side?
They
there's two sides of it in the NFL, isn't there?
There are different conferences. Yeah, we'll go through it when we get close to the season. Now that we're really far away, now that we're almost as far away from the start of the season, no, we've got several months to go, and we'll get into it.
When's it start?
What's not several months away? Say that again.
It's September.
Yeah. We've got a lot of ground to cover till then. We've got the Euros. We've got the Olympics. The football season will finish and start again before the NFL season starts. What is going on right now, though, is the NBA playoffs. So we finished the regular season, and we're now in the postseason. In the postseason, we have got the playoffs and I'm sure I had the scores up somewhere. Yeah. So currently we've got in the playoffs, Oklahoma City Thunder, who are 3-0 up against the Pelicans. The Minnesota Timberwolves have already won, so it's a best of 7. And the Minnesota Timberwolves have gone through 4-0 winners, so they've done a clean sweep against the Phoenix Suns. The pod's favourite Boston Celtics, self-proclaimed, are 2-1 up against Miami Heat, but Miami Heat aren't making it easy for them. They did take a game up in Boston before they headed down to Miami, where Celtics then took a game, and they are playing tonight. So when this goes out, we'll know tomorrow if it's 3-1 or 2-2. What else? We've got Denver Nuggets and LA Lakers. Denver Nuggets look like they're going to win that one. They're 3-1 up. And then we've got the Indiana Pacers, who are 3-1 up against the Milwaukee Bucks. And in the last game, we've got Dallas Mavericks, who I thought would have been one of the favorites. They're 2-2 draw with LA Clippers. So we've got some teams there to pick from. I am obviously staying with the Celtics. Is there a spin the wheel? Is there a spin the wheel for NBA teams in the playoffs, James?
There is, but I've got to type them all out.
Okay, all right.
I can do that, but I know who I want, though. Is that a problem?
Yeah,
You just pick a team. Pick a side.
I would like the Mavs on the basis that Mark Cuban runs them.
And I like the Bucks on the basis that Wes Edens, who's a co-owner of Villa, owns them.
That's a solid reasoning.
And they're
I would say the Bucks are about to go out.
Well, we don't know that. It could be a one.
Sure. Okay. Sure. Yeah. So the Bucks are currently the underdogs. the team that you probably wouldn't want to back are the Phoenix Suns, who have gone out. And so Dallas Mavericks, James, are tied 2-2 in the best of 7. So
I was actually seeing
a couple of games to go.
He's like traded away quite a lot of picks in like 27, 28, and 2029 on the basis he doesn't own the full club anymore, so they can fire him at any point, and it won't matter by that point because they won't have any picks left. So he's going all in at the moment, from my very small understanding of basketball.
Any understanding is good.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. Right. Whistle through that. NBA postseason done. Snooker World Championships is in play right now, as predicted. Ronnie O'Sullivan is walking through. He's only getting given one chance at the table and is making the most of it. He dispatched of Ryan Day very easily. Kyron Wilson is also through to the quarterfinals. Yeah, quarterfinals, the round of 8. Who else is through? Stephen Maguire is through after beating Sean Murphy. That's a pretty decent game. And Judd Trump is through, and David Gilbert is through. I don't really know who David Gilbert is. We still just like Ronnie O'Sullivan, I assume, for the win?
Yeah, I think he's the only reason that people watch snooker, unless you're a diehard fan. I've just offended half of snooker.
He looks a good Nick, doesn't he? I think he's probably going to win it. If he wants to win it, he'll win it.
Yeah, he's got the Saudi money. He's happy with himself.
And he said he was happy to play well into his 50s. So he's clearly back enjoying playing snooker. And it does look like it too. Like, he's playing very good snooker. I think I'd enjoy playing snooker if I was playing that well.
Never really understood why snooker was a game that you got worse at as you got older. Like, why is that a problem?
Eyesight.
Is it?
That'll be the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hand-eye coordination and eyesight.
I mean, surely you'd get better. Like,
yeah. Well, it's concentration, isn't it? It's focus. For games can be like 4, 5, 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I can struggle to concentrate for 2 hours, let alone 5, 6. I mean, that's probably more of a niche to me than it is a 50-year-old snooker player. But with age, it's eyesight, concentration, hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, I never really got it. Like, Stephen Hendry's like not that old, right? And I feel like he's been out of the game for ages.
He could have kept playing, I think.
I think he could have kept playing. I think he probably retired quite young.
More of an ego thing, I reckon, than anything. He was used to being the best, and then as soon as he wasn't, it probably was a bit hard to handle.
What, you when O'Sullivan?
It wasn't immediately with Ronnie, was it? Like, Ronnie versus Hendry went head-to-head for a while. And then, when did Hendry retire? 2000? Oh, God. I'm pretending I'd have that snooker knowledge.
He retired in 2012.
Oh, miles off.
But he did return.
I still feel like he could return now. Like, how high can the standard have got since he's left?
Well, John Parrott and Jimmy White also both returned. I think Ronnie's going to play into his 50s, he said. So good luck. Good luck, everyone else. A sport where I don't think you can, I'm now deliberately segueing, a sport where you cannot play old, you'd imagine, despite Jimmy Anderson and Mahindra Singh Dhoni, is cricket. And I mentioned Dhoni because Dhoni's playing for the Chennai Super Kings, and they're doing fairly well. So you've got the Indian Premier League going on right now. What else is going on in cricket? We've got county cricket, but Indian Premier League probably is the only cricket that actually has matches that are going to completion, because all of the county cricket is getting rained off because it is just a very, very soggy April. James, I think you mentioned something about cricket in April.
Yeah, there's a picture of Joe Root playing this week with a snood on in the field, and it's like, why are we playing cricket in the cold in April? Every game's
with no one watching in the ground, no one watching on TV.
It's the counter game is in a bit of a ropey position, I think. I'm still shocked that Dhoni's playing in the IPL. I did not know that.
I know, absolutely incredible. Yeah, so for the Chennai Super Kings. But there's a lot, like, we've spoken about it over the last week, haven't we, about how the IPL is just not really capturing the imagination anymore like it used to be when it burst onto the scenes. And I feel like when you had A.B. de Villiers and Maxwell was in his earlier days and teeing off, you had Mr. Universe Boss. Is that what he called himself? Chris Gale. Universe Boss Chris Gale. You'd tune in just to watch them just absolutely slog it out of the ground. And there are players that are doing it now, but I don't know if there's less coverage or it's just on repeat and there are so many games and it goes on for so long. But I'm just struggling to get interested.
Yeah, I understand that. It's I've never been a big IPL guy, but there are years where a Butler gets to a semi-final and you watch it. I'm just not that interested even now. Like I think the IPL is the scores you're seeing now are just meant. You're seeing teams knock 260 down in 20 overs. They're definitely making the batting conditions as friendly as possible to inflate those scores and try and bring the entertainment back. But yeah, I don't know. I love cricket. I love international cricket, but the IPL is just not doing it for me anymore.
Following it at all, Joel?
No. I don't know a lot about the IPL. It's one of those where it's a bit of a, I was just aware that they paid a lot of money to the players. Like, I don't really know when it happens and how they fit it into the schedule and stuff like that. I just, I know there's a lot of money there. And obviously, with cricket being absolutely massive in India. But yeah, I mean, it's not really a friendly time for UK following either, is it?
No, busy at work. The only time I really am tuning in is when something's happening, when something's happening for the English players that are over there. So I think the foreign players in the league definitely still picks up a little bit of attention. Like Will Jacks he hit 100 off 41 balls and he hit 28 in 1 over against probably one of the world's best T20 spin bowlers, Rashid Khan. So stories like that get me a little bit interested. I'll probably watch the highlights of that, but beyond those one-off moments in a 3-month tournament, it's pretty limited in terms of engagement.
Yeah, is it on Sky this year? Because usually you see it on Sky every now and then, and if it's on, I might watch a few overs, but I've not been seeing it on there.
I've just not been tuning in. Just not been tuning in at all.
What I have been tuning into is the darts.
Hello, Luke the Nuke, 17 years old. What he's achieved in his sporting career, in his sport at 17 years old. He's still a child. He's literally a child.
He's 17 years old and he's won 5 events this year. How is that possible?
This year.
With the Masters.
Runner-up in the World Championship and won 5 events.
I'm watching...
In the big event that he didn't win, he came second.
Yeah, I'm watching Darts Premier League to see what a 17-year-old's doing. It's a bit nuts. You could never... I'll watch the darts the finals before. But he is definitely bringing a lot more eyes on it. I saw Van Gerwen had a little nickname for Luke. I think he calls him Luke the Kebab Boy or something like that. So they're all taking 17-year-olds. But yeah, it really is generational, isn't it? Can't imagine it happening in another sort of sport where a 17-year-old rocks up and beats all these veterans every week.
Absolutely love it. I love what he's done for the sport. He's definitely got more eyes on it.
More eyes, he's bringing more revenue in. He's helping every player by just being there. You a big darts fan, Joel?
I'm a bit of a darts fan. When the Worlds is on, then I'll follow it, but not so much with the smaller competitions. But yeah, obviously I'm very aware of him and his rise to fame.
Have you been?
Yes, yeah.
Not
used to be an avid
Ali Pali.
Ali Pali, yeah. I went a few years.
Lovely.
Did you do the
Hey.
Did I do the what? Sorry,
fancy dress?
No, we never did fancy. It was always a work day. It was always work days. So no fancy dress, but yeah, we used to get a pretty sweet spot, and the beer was flowing, so it was always a laugh.
It's definitely one. It's because it's usually around Christmas time as well, isn't it? It's December time, and the Worlds are. So yeah, I'm trying to get them booked for this year and see what all the hype's about.
Yeah, I used to work somewhere that was close to the industry. So, it was good.
Ideal. Well, we really have covered off all sports today. I'm not sure if there's anything that we haven't mentioned.
No, I feel like that. So we've probably done the pod's name justice today. And I think there are going to be times where we over-index on football with the Euros coming up. We'll diversify a lot more around tennis Grand Slam season 2. We've got the French Open coming up, and then we'll have Wimbledon. And obviously we've got the Olympics coming up this summer too. So I feel like there's a bit more diversity that is coming. And I like these touches on what's happening around the world in sports news. I find it pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like learning about the sport as well. I would never know about rugby union before, and I'm probably looking forward to some of the European rugby that's coming up this weekend to see what happens.
Says the guy that was a Sarries season ticket holder.
I was
and,
6.
And on that bombshell, we'll call it a night. If you have enjoyed listening along, give us a like, rate us 5-star on Spotify. If you want to get involved, contact us at allsportspods@gmail.com, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.